Really? Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me? Can anyone hear me? Okay, great. We got this. We got this. How are y'all doing this morning? This has not been
Can you guys hear me?
Going. Great.
Can you guys hear me?
Clear. My air conditioner's running in the background. We're just going to have to put up with that. It's hot here. Great.
Can anyone hear me?
See if I can
Okay,
get
great.
Stellarium
We got
here.
this.
We got this.
See if
How are y'all doing this morning? This has not been
Can you
easy
guys
to get
hear
this
me?
going. Great.
Can you guys hear me?
Clear. My air conditioner's running in the background. We're just going to have to put up with that. It's hot here. Great.
Can anyone hear me?
See if I can
Okay,
get
great.
Stellarium
We
up
got
here.
this.
We got this.
See if
How are y'all doing this
doing?
morning? This has not been
Can you
easy
guys
to get
hear
this
me?
going. Great.
Can you guys hear me?
Clear. My air conditioner's running in the background. We're just going to have to put up with that. It's hot here.
There we go. We got Stellarium up now.
Great.
Can anyone hear me?
See if I can
Okay,
get
great.
Stellarium up
We got
here.
this.
We got this. How are y'all doing this morning? This has not been
Can you
easy
guys
to get
hear
this
me?
going. Great.
Can you guys hear me?
Clear. The conditioner's running in the background. We're just going to have to put up with that. It's hot here.
Can anyone hear
See
me?
if I can
Okay,
get
great.
Stellarium
We got this.
We got this. How are y'all doing this morning? This has not been
Can you
easy
guys
to get
hear
this
me?
going. Great.
Can you guys hear me?
The conditioner's running in the background. We're just going to have to put up with that.
Can anyone hear
See
me?
if I can
Okay, great. We got this.
We got this. How are y'all doing this morning? This has not been
Can you
easy
guys
to
hear
get this
me?
going. Great.
Can you guys hear me?
The conditioner's running in the background. We're just going to have to put up with that.
Can anyone hear me?
If I can
Okay, great. We got this.
We got this. How are y'all doing this morning? This has not been easy to get this going. Great.
Can you guys hear me?
The conditioner's running in the background. We're just going to have to put up with that.
Can anyone hear me?
If I can
Okay, great. We got this.
We got this. What about now? Is there still an echo now? Anybody? Shit. Am I gonna have to reload this thing again? It's on a loop. Let me see if I can do something about audio. Oops, wrong one. Audio. Okay, echo is gone. Okay. That's good to know. I'm getting ahead of myself here. No. I don't. Can y'all see Stellarium? Alright. No. minimize that. Minimize that. I want to be able to run Stellarium. Can y'all see Stellarium? Yes and no. Okay. All right. Well, we'll just start with this. Let's just chat, I guess. I'm not sure if you can see the screen or what's going on. It's hard for me to can see Stellarium. Great. I'm going to leave it in the corner like this in a smaller box. That way I can still see you guys talk. There is a big blue box blocking the view. This box, I've already set the URL page I want to display. I want to window capture, display capture. Window capture. Yeah, that is a browser source. Hold on, I can't see all of this. Yeah, she's right about the browser source. I want to add I don't want to add the browser source. I want to add, I don't want my video capture device. Oh, no. That would be my, I want window capture is what I want. Display capture is what I want. But it's got me. Oh, well. We'll just have to, I'll figure that out later. I actually don't have the mentality for it right now. We'll just put all that down there. What are y'all doing today? Show the browser source info page as well. Actually, I didn't want to use the browser. I was trying to get out of the browser source and it didn't want to let me do it. I wanted it to, nope, just do my audio. I have to turn it all off to change the output settings. Okay. We'll get back to that later. At least I'm getting there. At least you can hear me now. Am I lagging in any way? I should be up and going. I spent a lot of time. I tore my computer apart last night. I didn't get as much sleep as I wanted to. But I should be not lagging. Everything seems to be running fast and fine. So we're finally there. If I can just learn how to use this encoder a little better. I've got a couple of them. Maybe I'll try a different one next time. Well, y'all can hear me anyway. I'm going to go over here to Stellarium myself because I can see it. And I'm just going to talk to y'all about what's going on. I want to talk about Gemini now because the sun is in Gemini and there's so much going on about Gemini. The first day of Gemini was the first day after the summer solstice. So Gemini is now at the summer solstice is considered the peak. The peak, it's your highest point. It's the longest day of the year. It's your moment in the sun. And so Gemini, or Mercury, has had its moment in the sun as far as in the sign of Gemini. In the sign of Virgo, Mercury has fallen. Virgo is past the fall equinox, so it's in what we call the wilderness of Zen. So this Mercury character, When we talk about Gemini, we're talking about hermetics, duality, the lovers, the twins. The stories are endless, and each one of them, to me, each one of the stories, honey, that box is still in the way. Yeah, I know the box is still in the way and you cannot see Stellarium, but I'm not going to pull my hair out right now to get rid of that box and change it over to the other one. I have to turn the whole thing off. It won't let me do it without a restart. So we don't want to restart. I'm just going to talk to you. So about these twins, I got to thinking about this and what's going on, because all of the signs are split. And right now we're dealing with a Mercury Jupiter mutable cross in this age. And Mercury is doing this androgynous, hermaphroditic thing, transgender. That's where a lot of this is coming from. And it's about the two serpents. There's two. Hermetics is about the two serpents. On the Pharaoh's head, he has the two snakes. You have the lower serpent Kundalini and then the upper serpent Kundalini. I want to talk about the human body and how that relates. As above, so below. You're either living in the upper chakras or you're living in the lower chakras. The sun and the moon and the solar plexus are simply your power points. What you do is, there is the Kundalini rising from the lower chakras. But that doesn't open the eye you think it does. There are two. There are two ways of doing this. I'm trying to think of the best way to explain this. It's the two different Mercuries. It's the two different aspects of Mercury. When you open your third eye from the upper chakras, you walk in the land of milk and honey. When I opened my third eye the first time, I walked in the land of milk and honey. But I went back a couple days later and I met a different individual. They looked the same. They looked identical. But one didn't have the light. There was no milk and honey. In the body, you have two eyes and a third eye. That's above. And I'll use a man for lack of a better example. But a man has two balls and a penis. And the penis secretes the milk. Your third eye does the same thing. Your third eye does the same thing. And it secretes the honey. And there's a difference. It's the two different snakes. It's upper and lower Egypt. Egypt is the body. Never let mind go below the solar plexus. Stay in the heart. The solar plexus is the power point. It's where you get your power from. It's that gut feeling, that gut intuition, and it either runs on solar or lunar power. That's how you are. Audio gone. You're kidding me. Audio gone. Is that for everybody? How far is this lag behind? I'm just going to pause here till somebody tells me the audio is back on. Still can't hear. Nope, it's not gone. I can still hear. Okay, I'm getting a lot of no's, but I don't know if that is no, it's not gone, or I can hear fine. Okay, that's just you buffering. Is everybody else fine? Okay. So you got as above, so below. Upper and lower Egypt, the body is Egypt. You have the two kingdoms. The upper kingdom is ruled by Saturn, the third eye, the crown chakra. The lower kingdom is ruled by Jupiter, the flesh. Saturn rules time, Jupiter rules place, so it's right place at the right time. When you get the solar and lunar eclipses, especially the solar eclipse, because they're on the same side, that power is the same thing as bringing Upper and Lower Egypt together. It's the same thing. It would be a good time for that type of tantric lower chakra magic. And just the opposite when they're separate. Like every 20 years, Saturn and Jupiter come together. You got the being in the right place at the right time. But also every 10 years opposite that, every 20 years, they are separate, like the sun and the moon. The United States was founded on the separation of church and state. That's the separation of Jupiter and Saturn. Together, they're one. Then you have theology or theosophy, or to where the religion is the law. They're one. To me, I'm like the girl said, I stay in the upper chakras. At my age, at this time in my life, my lower chakras are gone. I've gone through menopause. Jupiter rules the belly, and I literally have to force myself to eat. I have no worldly desires. I have no sexual desires. Mars, Jupiter, lust, lower chakras. I never really did. I was never really somebody that was porn don't do anything for me. As a matter of fact, pornography kind of disgusts me. I'm not interested in the body or the lower chakras. I'm interested in the upper chakras and what's going on up there. What's going on today in the world is a Mercurian thing. It's a hermaphroditic, androgynous, the two snakes. But unfortunately, they're not getting the two snakes. They're only getting the one. And it will bring you worldly pleasure, worldly power, worldly fame and fortune. But it does nothing for your soul. The things in the lower chakra are temporal. The things in the upper chakras are eternal. It's all within us. When you talk about being in the clouds, that's being in your head. You got to be in your head. And it's a funny thing because Mercury rules logic and intelligence. Mercury's exalted in Virgo, which in one story, going one way, it's the whore of Babylon. Going the other way, it's the woman with the alabaster box. Everything has its duality to it. We can have a really great natal chart. That when I do a natal chart, I try to do it to where it shows the potential, what your potential is. But there's always that duality and free will, and you have the choice to go 180 degrees the other way. It's all in the choices we make. Our choices literally come from our chakras. Either it's a worldly lower chakra choice. In the Native American tradition, it's the two wolves. You have two wolves in you, a good one and a bad one. Which one lives? Well, it's the one you feed. It's the one you feed. So if you're feeding the lower chakra, that's the wolf that's going to live. And he's very animalistic, fight or flight, worldly. And then there's the good wolf. That's why I'm always talking about feeding your mind. And pornography is something that corrupts your mind. I hate television. I started hating television a long time ago because I know what it's like to have your innocence taken from you, and physically in the body. I learned that as a small child. And to me, what television does when they started letting it became more and more risque. as a child watching that, I was uncomfortable because it took me back to my innocence being ripped from me. So to me, it's assault on the mind. I think it's wrong. I don't agree with these pride parades where they run around nude. To me, that you're exposing me something visually that I don't want to see. I'm non-gender. If I had my way, even as a child, when I started learning about gender and I found out I was a girl, and I didn't want to be a girl. I didn't want to be a boy either, but I didn't want to grow up to have breasts. Nope, I didn't want that. I didn't want any part of this female-male dichotomy. That really was a turnoff to me. So I have a clear distinction and a clear separation of the two snakes, the two kingdoms, and, hermetics, Mercury teaches us to bring them together, right? To make them one. You unite Upper and Lower Egypt. And there are two times and two ways that happens celestially. And that is on solar eclipses and Saturn-Jupiter conjunctions. The macro and the micro. The micro is the sun and the moon because they're within our system. The macro is Jupiter and Saturn because they're the ones controlling the ring. The sun, all the sun is a storyteller. He really has no power of his own per se. What he does is, as he moves the sun and the moon, as they move through the constellations, they're telling the frequency or the story of that constellation. I understood very clearly coming into the body, the sun was teaching me, having a conversation with me, and he was very mechanical. He's masculine in this age. Right now, anyway, that frequency can change, and it can come as feminine or androgynous. The sun goes through stages. Sun healer, the sun can heal, but it can also destroy. You have to know the particulars. The healing time of the sun would be in 3 phases. Everything is at an angle. That's the Pythagorean theorem. And you have to learn that to understand degrees, angles, and what that means. And when we're dealing with the sun, we deal with sunrise, the midday, and then sunset. Sunrise is the beginning. The Jews, what they do is they stare at the sun on sunrise. The Freemasons honor the sun at midday. And then the third cult does it at sunset. And it's also with the night. There's 3 stages of the night. Just like same sunset, midnight, and sunrise. I wish I could keep up with what's going on in the chat a little better. But there is a difference between the 2 snakes. And I've seen the difference. I've seen the 2 beings that represent them in masculine form for me as a female. I see them in masculine form. And to me, they're using that truth that we should be given right now, and they're perverting it. How do I explain this? Inside of you, when you're just an egg in your mother's uterus, and the sperm comes in and it fertilizes the egg, and the egg is non-binary. It's neither masculine nor feminine. It's just an egg. It's just dirt, like ground, and the seed comes in, and then the egg has to decide whether I'm going to be masculine or whether I'm going to be feminine. And my understanding, and I'm convinced of this, I don't have a way to prove it, but in my knowing, I just know. So when you're born, if you're born female, then the male part of you died, and it goes and lives in your third eye. It goes to heaven in the upper kingdom of your head. So if you're female and you open your third eye, you're gonna meet your higher self, and it's your masculine aspect, and it's vice versa for the male. And they're using this. When I was a small child, and all this crap was happening to me, but I was this crazy smart kid in school, and they didn't understand. My older sister had failed the first grade 3 times, and I mastered it before I got there. So they were constantly testing me and sending me to see shrinks. And I opened up to one of them one time, and I told them, I feel like I'm missing. There's part of me missing. I feel like the masculine part of me is missing. Like I had a twin brother and he died or something. That there's just something missing in me. And now I know. I completely understand it. They use this. The children know. The little girl knows there's a boy inside of her. And the little boy knows there's a girl inside of him. And they're using that against them. Yes, Twin Peaks is Twin Speaks. That's correct. It's exactly the video where I talk about this. But to me, that's what's going on. And they take everything and they pervert it. They know it's time for the twin to speak. So they pervert it in the lower chakras. If this information was given to the children in the upper chakras, the manifestation would be on the inside instead of the outside. And they do it by symbolism. The subconscious mind speaks in symbolism. So they pervert the symbolism. The subconscious mind sees the perverted symbolism and says, that's what you want? Well, okay. And then you act and react to it without knowing why. It's the BIOS in your system. Yeah, it's false. Everything about it is false. When we move into Aquarius, it's about the third eye. The lower chakras are cut off. You're no longer masculine or feminine. You will not be judged by your gender, your race, your color, your creed, all of that. To me, transgenderism is unconstitutional. It's unconstitutional. The government has no right to even ask me if I'm male or female. You can't even ask me that. I should never have to put on a job application my age, my gender, my race, none of that. I should only put on there my qualifications, my skills, my talents, my references. But I should never be judged in any way. I shouldn't receive privilege or discrimination. So to me, the whole thing is bogus. It's all bogus, and it's all there for distraction. Everything set up that's going on right now, 100% is to keep you angry, distracted, pissed off, something negative that draws you to the lower chakras. The lower chakras they can be positive, but the only time in astrology where they appear to be really good is when they come under the control of the third eye, when Saturn's in play, when Saturn's ruling, when the third eye, your higher self, is in control. Jesus said in the Garden of Gethsemane, he's praying, and he ends his prayer with, Not my will, but thine be done. He's praying to the Father, to the higher self. Thy will be done. And I feel that way very much about my higher self. I talk to him all the time that this is what I want and what I think I need and what I think I want, but I know you know the end of this game, and I want to win the end game. I don't care about the logistics in the middle, as long as I know that my actions, I'm not one that's going to do something that's going to serve me today. Capricorns are goal-oriented people. We don't do anything. We're goal-oriented. So there needs to be a purpose. My work in school, I needed that A, so I'm going to work for it. I'm going to apply myself. And I'm going to do the same thing in this situation. I'm going to apply myself. I save the best for last. Save the best for last. Always. And that's how I try to live my life. I'll do the work today so that tomorrow I have a free day. I want to save the best for last. And that's what's coming for us. The way the alchemical circle is set up, that's exactly what it does. It burns off the dross and it saves the best for last. Is our persona of our higher self. Not necessarily April. Is our stellar masculine energy or feminine comparable or comparable to the persona of our higher self? No, not actually. Because there are, like your higher self, stellar energy, it changes. Because it's fixed, mutable, and cardinal. There are 3 stages. There are 3 stages on both sides. On both sides. So you don't know. And then we're born male and female under those same stellar stars. So no, that totally has. I believe that happens at conception. When the seed is dictated whether it's going to be male or female, that happens then. When I got pregnant with my son, I knew the instant it happened. I mean, I even said it. Hey, I think I just got pregnant. I felt it. I felt the heat, the spark, that spark of life that happens when life is created. I knew the moment it happened. And it wasn't while I was having sex. It was after sex. Right after sex, I'd got up, walked to the bathroom, and boom, it hit me. And you know what it felt like? It felt like, now that I'm older, I have these things called hot flashes that you have during menopause. And that's what it felt like, but in my womb instead of up my spine. How to stop attracting imbalancedly, excessively feminine types who project onto me. Wow. You know, in the physical, opposites attract. In the spiritual, like attracts. People of like mind, like heart flock together. But the only way that you're going to stop excessive feminine who project onto you is to change your frequency. They're just responding. You're the one with the frequency. So you can either turn it up, turn it off. It's like an analog dial. They've got us in a digital world. In a digital world, you can't be between channels. That only happens in an analog world. And sometimes the best place to be is between channels. That's the white noise. It's the empty space. But they've got us so dialed in with digital. You know, for some reason, iPet 2 keeps popping up in my head. Let's see if I can get this up. What is this telling me? set the URL page I would like to display. I thought I'd done that. We'll get to that. I'll do my homework, and the next time I go live, I'll have all of that fixed. I'll have it all figured out and done. I might even run the other system. Alright, let's please talk about bloodlines. Every time the sun changes, there's another bloodline. It changes everything. Everything. Yeah, there's more than one bloodline. To me, every race that's here has all of the bloodlines within them. All of them. And that's because when we move through the ages, you call it evolution. To me, it's not evolution. We don't evolve, we mutate, we transmutate. We transmutate through the circle. And there are copper bloodlines and there are iron bloodlines. In astrological terms, we say men are from Mars, that's the iron bloodline, that's the line of the father. The copper bloodline is the feminine bloodline. It comes from the mother, Venus. Julius Caesar said he was Venusian, he was born of Venus. He's telling you he was a negative bloodline. That's what that means. And yeah, we're different in so many ways. I'm a negative bloodline. I'm a B negative. My body temperature is not 98.6 degrees. It's 96.8. My heart rate is slower. My blood pressure is low. They call us reptilians, right? They call us reptilians. I can't stand to be cold. I like to lay in the sun like a lizard. I can't wear a watch. I shut down electronics. I can walk up to a cash register and it starts freaking out. I ain't even got it. I'm on the other side of the aisle and it's freaking out. There's a lot of difference between us. Copper bloodlines tend to be more empathic because copper conducts electricity better than iron. That's the difference. It's like in Europe. You have Germany and Russia. You have the motherland and the fatherland. Copper bloodlines. It's how many of you watch Dante's channel on what is it? DSHAHK or something like that, and he's always showing you the X. That's the feminine bloodline. It's just a copper bloodline. I think a lot of what on YouTube is disinformation, and they're telling you that the royal family are copper bloodlines. I don't believe that. Everything about them smells of O positive, not a negative bloodline at all. They might have breeded with them. Before, less than 100 years ago, everybody had to have a blood test. And they would tell you it was to see if you had syphilis. But that was a lie. It was because they knew. And you weren't allowed to marry somebody outside of your bloodline. This was biblical. That the sons of God came unto the daughters of men and bare them children. That's the story. The positive bloodline mixing with the feminine bloodline. And when that happens, either the mother, the child, or both die in childbirth. Today, they give the mother the Rogam shot. That way, the baby, she don't die, and it changes everybody's blood. It changes your blood. I went through like 5 miscarriages, and they never told me. They never told me why you keep having miscarriages. But when they look at me, they don't see a negative bloodline. I'm olive complected. I've got dark eyes. Usually, negative bloodlines, they're taught in school that, those are blonde-haired, blue-eyed people. No, they're not. They're all over the world, and they're in every culture. Every culture, it's like the Native American tribes. Within the tribe itself, you had positive and negative. You had it's like the Levites, right? The Levites were a copper-based bloodline. They were the only ones that could touch the Ark of the Covenant. So out of 12, one was copper-based bloodline, the Levites. So that's what that meant. They're empaths. They're oracles. They're sorcerers. They do witchcraft better. They're open to the spirits because there's something electrical about them. Like I said, it's even today, I can't wear a watch. It doesn't matter if you wind it up. It still don't matter. It's going to stop. My body's just going to drain the energy right out of it. I can't keep plants in the house. House plants, no go. They're dead within 48 hours for no reason. I just suck the life out of them. And but at the same time, a positive bloodline comes around me and they suck the life out of me. I draw it from nature and they draw it from me. We're just conduits. I call it conduits. But because of the Rogam shot, now you have families that are mixed, right? And that's, to me, if you had to translate in scientific terms of what the giants are, that's what the giants are. They are positive bloodlines that mixed with a negative bloodline and the child survived. It's a giant. And it doesn't have anything to do with color. Yeah, drink from copper cups. We had copper pennies in our shoes. I come from a French bloodline, which is a negative bloodline. And my whole generation, we all have these traditions about copper, about what you do with copper. For somebody that's a positive bloodline and you think you can get an overdose on copper, it can kill you because it's not conducive to your body. When I was pregnant, they kept trying to give me ferrous sulfate, which is an iron supplement. I'm not an iron-based bloodline. That shit makes me sick as a dog. They almost killed me trying to feed me iron. I don't need iron. I'm copper-based bloodline. I even had... Here's how stupid the medical association is. The last doctor I actually saw, I was sitting here arguing with her about this, and I said, look, I'm a copper bloodline. I'm a negative bloodline. I'm going to have a lower body temperature. I'm going to have a lower sugar level. I'm going to have a lower blood pressure. And we're different. And she said, my daughter's a negative. And I'm sitting there thinking, well, if your daughter's a negative, so are you. And you're an idiot. Whatever they're teaching them in med school, it's all crap. All school's crap to me. It's 100% all bullshit and lies. It's all programming to get you to believe the lie. The Bible has a statement that I will send them strong delusion to cause them to believe the lie. There's only one. And that lie is that this place is real. To me, this place is a test, or it's an incubation stage. We're in an incubation. And it's like we're all sperm. Every one of us that are alive are now sperm. And there's only one egg. And only one of us can germinate that egg and be born into the next world. And that's hard to do, right? Every time the man ejaculates, all that sperm comes out, but only one of them get to fertilize the seed. And I wonder, is this life like that? I really thought that as a child because I couldn't find anybody like me. I felt so different, alone, outcast. I was so thankful for YouTube when it came on. My first instinct was in the internet period was to be able to connect with other people who had experienced the same things I did and saw them in a similar fashion. But I couldn't school. I could regurgitate whatever they wanted me, but I didn't believe any of it. I never did. And every time I tried to talk about the way I saw it, I was shut down quick, fast, really, really fast. Tesla, quark crystals, first life form, all life start, everything ever that comes from anything, the first thing it comes from is thought. That's why we're in the mind of God. I'm convinced more and more that the earth is the third eye. There's no doubt about that. And we're getting to that point. One, because cardinal earth, the most high earth, is going to be under the rule of Saturn, the third eye. I believe when we get to the Ancient of Days, that is Capricorn, the Ancient of Days is Capricorn, and that's when the earth becomes, it is God's third eye, and God's own third eye opens. To me, people, this age that we're in, Pisces, is an O-negative bloodline age. It's a water age. It's the same bloodline that was in Cancer. Let's talk about water for a minute. Because when you talk about the beasts that come up out of the sea or the peoples, that's the water. And there are only 3 water signs, and they're ruled by Jupiter, Mars, and the moon. And that's all lower chakra. And that's what we've got going on here. I hate this overly sexualized society. It's disgusting to me. I don't like hearing about it on the news. I don't like any of it. To me, it is throwing everybody into the lower chakras, and they can't see the truth, and they believe the lie. Can y'all still hear me? Why do I feel like this shut down? Nothing's moving. Can I get some feedback here? Hello? Okay. I feel like there's a lag on my end somewhere. Something just happened to me. Boy, it's doing it again. I'm not sure where the lag's coming from. As long as y'all can hear me, I'm fine with it, but I've got a severe lag on my end. Alright. I need to get me a drink. I'm thirsty. I've been at this for a couple of hours now, just trying to get it to go. What do y'all want to talk about now? We've talked about blood. Life's in the blood. Blood magic's real big. Blood magic's the hugest magic they're using right now. And only females bleed. That's why the patriarch has to have sacrifices. There is some lagging, but small. QAnon symbolism will be their downfall. Yeah, when we all wake up to the symbolism, Confucius said the world is run by signs and symbols. I completely understand that. We're going to get into a lot of that. What are my 2020 predictions? I've done a lot of them. 2020 is the halfway point. 2020, the church is going to take a big hit. Jupiter, the empire, everything that Jupiter rules will come underfoot in 2020 because the Saturn-Jupiter conjunction is going to happen in Saturn's house where Jupiter's debilitated. Yeah, Melanie, the copper bloodline is powerful, and they know it. Time to stop them. We're not supposed to stop them. Actually, we are the evil has to come to a full. It has to tilt the scale so far the other way, and they're doing it. We're watching it happen. The church the pedos started at the church. They're the ones who started it. The Babylonian priesthood. It is Nebuchadnezzar's statue. You control the priesthood, you control the king, you control the politicians, the CEOs, the bankers, all of them. There is nobody in power that has not been compromised. Yeah, Jupiter's going down. That's why they gave us the movie Jupiter Ascending. Jupiter ain't ascending, Jupiter is descending. Jupiter's already in the underworld, the lower chakras. The underworld is Mars, Jupiter, and the moon. The upper world is Mercury, Venus, Saturn, and the sun. We're not supposed to... the pedos have their own fate. It would be better for them had they never been born. They sold their souls. That's what they did. They sold their souls. And the Creator is letting them do it. And it doesn't matter. Eventually, everything goes back to source. Jupiter is expansion, but Saturn is contraction. As Jupiter is empire, Saturn less is more. We will come into superhuman bodies. Superhuman body. No, that's what Jupiter wants. Jupiter wants the superhuman body. That's what he rules, the flesh. Aquarius is going to be about the superhuman upper mind. We're all going to be ruled by our higher selves. There are a lot of reasons that in the Talmud, they've always, this vampiric society, and and that's another reason why I do not believe that the royal family is a negative bloodline, because they're vampiric. And if I'm a negative bloodline, and if I was a vampire and I bit into a positive bloodline, it would kill me. And a vampire's just running around sucking on everybody. He's not checking blood types. And the only person that can do that is an O positive blood type. A vampire cannot be any other blood type. O positive can receive blood from anybody. That tells me they're an O positive bloodline. That's also their symbol. That's their symbol. The symbol for the iron bloodline, they worship Jupiter and Mars, is O positive. It's they call it the Celtic cross. But the feminine bloodline, the copper bloodline, as it was in the days of Noah, Noah was the only one whose bloodline was not contaminated. So the least among you, and the negative bloodlines are the least. They're less than 15% of the population. B negative is less than 5%. AB negative is like 2%, 1 or 2%. Everything they're telling you on the internet is a lie. But blood magic is very powerful, and copper blood is preferred. It's more powerful. But you're just opening doors to spirits. I've been playing with the tarot deck. Here's what I've come to understand. It's no different than the Ouija board. It's just an interface. It's an interface for the spirit world. And it's very real. It does work. I have been playing with it. And we are told to try the spirits to see if they be of God, to see if they're of the upper chakras or the lower chakras. There are 7 gods. That's one big problem. That's the biggest problem of the church, is monotheism, is they lied to you. Mars lied to you and told you there's only one God. In this realm, there are 7. And each one has 2 aspects. So we can look at it as a 14. And then the story's told in 2 ways. That jumps it up to 28. And 28's the first perfect number. In the South American tradition, they only had 13 names. for the 13 constellations. And before you ask the question, to me, the sun and the earth, the system we're in, we are the 13th constellation. You're standing on the 13th constellation. Which blood types have copper? The negative. A negative, B negative, AB negative, and O negative are all copper-based bloodlines. All the B positive, O positive, A positive, AB positive are all iron-based bloodlines. That's why I'm telling you, they're in all races. It's not about the color of your skin. It's about, are you from the mother or are you from the father? And that's what it means. And Jesus told the priest that you're not Abraham's seed. If you were Abraham's seed, you would do what Abraham does. But you are of your father, the devil, and that's what you'll do. You're going to do his works. Lucifer is the masculine aspect of Venus in Libra. The feminine aspect. Venus is our heart chakra. Our heart chakra is torn between heaven, Libra, and earth, Taurus. Yes, they can change the RH factor in your blood. They do it today with the Rogam shot. They've done it scientifically. They're trying to get rid of the negative bloodline. Even though the O negative is the universal donor. They're the rarest. They're the most sought after. They can only receive blood from an O negative. And they're part of that 15% negative population. All right. Click the mouse on Stellarium. Yeah, but you get the Rogam shot when you're pregnant. It changes you to have the baby. The baby's blood changed. And they can change your blood. They can change your blood. I can't take opiates. I can't take any type of NSAID, aspirin, ibuprofen, Aleve, naproxen, any of that. I can't. It absolutely makes me deathly ill. I do well with nicotine. I use nicotine. It's my family thing. You know, I look at crazy things. The Babylonian priesthood, the Talmud, and all these Levitical laws. Just in Leviticus, you know how it's about the hair. I want to talk about hair for a minute. The Native Americans don't grow hair on their face. They also do not go bald. They don't get the bald spot, and they don't have a mustache or a beard or even hair on their chest. Full-blooded Native Americans, North and South America, do not have this. This is a European thing. So when you see, to me, even the pure-blooded African tribes, like you go into the Kalahari, they don't grow beards. They don't have hair on their chest. It is a European thing. And you can tell where the bloodline's mixed. Even in the Chinese culture, in the Asian culture, a lot of them, the only ones that grew beards were the ones that had mixed with the European bloodlines. Which takes us back to Neanderthal, right? I call them Gunther. I don't know where I get that, but that's what I call them, Gunther. Is they have that strong brow line, the big cranial skull, the big boned. You know, in the Old Testament, when the tribe of Dan goes and mixes, they go to Mount Hermon. That's a play on words. That mountain is not where we've told it's been. That word Herman is German. You have to throw that silent G to the H in the Spanish there. It's Mount Herman. It's the German bloodline. Again, they've been telling us from the beginning about the motherland and the fatherland. You have the, what do they call it? The mother tongue. The mother tongue. To be a Jew, you can have any father. In their thinking, the Jew is, can I get rid of, no, I can't get rid of the, you've just added a browser box. It won't let me. I don't know how to make it go away. It's just there. I'll deal with that on the next time I upload. I'm going to figure it out, but I'm not going to take another hour and stop and figure out how to stop it. Yeah, that you have the mother tongue. It's the Russian tongue. And the fatherland. My eyelashes got thicker. Say boo. I lost my train of thought. What do y'all want to talk about now? Y'all have had questions. You didn't write them down? I have a deck of tarot cards. When you do the cards, you're talking to the spirits. The first thing you got to do is find out who the spirits are. I'm from Yugoslavia, and my family told me that our ancestors are the tall mountain people. Do you know about this? Well, Yugoslavia, that's Mars and Jupiter rule. That's European. To me, there's a difference between white people and Caucasians. Caucasians are Asians that came over the Caucasus Mountains and bred with the white people. We see in the celestial clock, Saturn and Mars change places. First, Jupiter and Mars. Jupiter rules fire and Mars rules water. And then they swap. Now Jupiter's ruling water and Mars is ruling fire. And when you say Jupiter and Mars, you're saying the Middle East and Europe. You're saying Asia and Europe. Why is Saturn demonized? Because Jupiter controls all publications in this age of Pisces. And he's terrified of Jupiter. Jupiter rules the flesh and the third eye. When you open your third eye, the flesh is done. It's done. It doesn't control you anymore. You don't live by worldly desires. So they've demonized Saturn to no end, like the ugly Baphomet. When I want Pan back. All the symbolism. I never studied for the test. We've been given nothing to study. Life is the study. To me, experience is the best teacher, and that's what we're here. We're here to learn hands-on. And a lot of the gods of the past two ages, Jupiter and Mars, they've been hands-off. It's don't do this. No astrology, no graven images of anything on heaven and earth. People can't see through that. If they understood alchemy, they would know that means no Saturn symbols, no Venus symbols, and no Mercury symbols. Yeah, I want my pen back too. It's coming. It's coming. This farce doesn't get to last for much longer. Your gifts and your talents. All of the chakras show you, and the planets show you what your gifts and your talents are, and at what level they are. In a natal chart, whatever planets are on the mutable cross, that's going to be the change in your life. That's going to be where you need to work at it. Who are the 13 gods? They're the 13 constellations in the earth. To me, there are 7 gods, which are the 7 chakras, the 7 planets. The constellations they're bigger than the planets. They're bigger than the sun. That's why when we move into Aquarius, Mars and Jupiter are both done at that point. When we move into Capricorn, and I'm talking in the big picture, when the sun is in the spring equinox in Aquarius, and then when the sun is in the spring equinox with Capricorn. Talk about the Arcturians and the Palladians. Yeah, I know about the Arcturians and the Palladians, and that's all bullshit. They've lied to you about everything. If you want to talk about something, talk about the Alterans, and those are the Ancient of Days. They put a halt to Gate World. Stargate SG-1, Stargate Universe was taking you to Gate World, and that would have been Arcturus, which is in the upper house of Capricorn, the Ancient of Days. The Palladians are the flock. A lot of people want to tell you because they're the 7 stars, they're the 7 rulers, they're the 7. There are 2 7s in Taurus. Orion is 7. He has the 4 outer stars and the 3 inner stars. When I look at Taurus, I literally see the number 77, and then Sirius as the 1. Right? You have Sirius 1 star, Orion 7 stars, and then the Pleiades 7 stars. Gematria is taught in the Pythagorean theorem, and that has to do with the school of Aries. Every constellation is a mystery school and set up in the mystery schools. Unfortunately, they've all been hijacked. You know, a lot of people jump on here and they tell me, I'm this sign or I'm that sign. If you haven't opened Stellarium and looked at it, then you don't know what sign you are. If you're running on what you've been told, you've been double-crossed. Why is the snake on the Patriot flag coiled 3 times? You would have to ask them that. You have to know the legend for the Patriots. I'm not sure what Patriot flag you're referring to. Is it the Don't Tread on Me? Because the original flag for the 13 colonies, the snake was cut up into 13 pieces. It was dismembered. A snake just represents a body of knowledge. To me, the snake coiled is they've put it back together, but everybody's still running on the fake phallic of Osiris. This whole thing, this whole matrix they're running is based on a fake phallic of Osiris. The real phallic, the real star is Fomalhaut, not Sirius. Snakes is a symbol of wisdom. That's it. It means a secret hidden knowledge. If a ram visited you, you were visited by a spirit from the lower chakra. And he is the most powerful, the ram, because he's cardinal fire. But that's the lower fire. They always tell us about the goat in Mendez. I did the video. There is no goat in Mendez. It's a ram. They changed it. They've changed everything. And unless you do your homework, you're not going to see that. 99% of the people on YouTube are simply regurgitating what is what I call Jupiter approved media. That's why they don't get flagged. That's why they don't get shut down. That's why they can post any damn thing they want. As long as you're demonizing Saturn, and Jupiter's the good guy, good old Jove. Jove is Zeus. Zeus raped his children, killed his children. They tell you the story that Saturn ate his own children. Saturn rules time. Time consumes all things. There are serpent, puma, and condor. That's South American. That's Libra. It was Libra. It's soon to be Aquarius. Take on the owl and the tall white Nordic beings. Again, owl is going to be a symbol for Libra. That is the most high of the heavens. It's this, the owl is the same thing as the serpent on the pole. I know everybody's demonizing Saturn. This whole age was set up to demonize Saturn, which is your third eye, your higher self. And if you're in your higher mind, you're thinking for yourself, you're a sovereign being. Here, this is about slavery. This whole construct is about slavery. They enslave your body, they enslave your mind, and they're after your soul, which is your sun, your star. You have your own. They demonize everything. I don't myself, the only way to open the third eye into the land of milk and honey, you have to go through the heart. You can't go through the lower kundalini. You can't go through the flesh. It's totally a spirit. You have to put off the flesh. You have to, 1, conquer your emotions, Mars. 2, conquer your desires, Jupiter. And then let go the power of the sun and the moon. Yeah, it's 2 gods because it's split. The owl, the towel. No, the Tao is the cross. Tao means cross. Tao means cross. The cross is the way. Taoism and Taoism means the way. And yeah, the owl on the cross is definitely the towel. I get the play on words there. That's fabulous. Talk about Bilderbergers and Bohemian Grove. Why do we want to drop our minds into the fucking swamp? You don't get much lower than that group. Is it possible to communicate with him when you meditate? You don't even have to meditate. You can just talk. You're being listened to all the time. You're being talked to all the time. You just don't hear it. You have to, because you're being talked to in signs and symbols. You have to know the signs and the symbols. And Saturn will use nature to talk to you. Saturn can grab anything and talk to you. So can the other matrix. I've had both of them contact me about hypnotism and hypnotherapy. Yeah, it can be used for good, but they hypnotize you using the TV and the radio and now the internet. Frequencies hypnotize you. Your cell phones are hypnotizing you. You look, how many times you've been sitting watching the TV or computer and you go into a trance? You're being hypnotized. You just go off. So Western Cancer sign is actually Gemini. Yeah, you back it up. Do I think I'm protected by angels? I don't necessarily think I'm protected by angels, but I know that in a way I feel like Job, that this world has been allowed to throw everything at me, but it can't kill me. I'm not even allowed to kill me. I tried to commit suicide several times as a child, and I come to the conclusion that it just ain't happening. I'm not out of here till I'm out of here. Somebody asked me, is suicide a great evil? Am I going to go to hell for that? Well, Jesus said, no man takes my life, I lay it down. That's suicide. I think you're shortchanging yourself. I'm glad it didn't work out for me and I didn't kill myself. I'm glad I'm still here for a lot of reasons. I don't want to have to come back. I don't necessarily talk to the planets. That's not who I'm talking to. To me, the planets are merely a representation. They simply channel energies. It's like the sun. I told you the sun is almost mechanical. That it's like he had a will of his own, but he was just doing his own, doing a job that he wasn't happy with. The son is not happy. I'm going to tell you that. Reincarnation. I believe two things about reincarnation. One, it's possible that if you don't do what you're here to do, you're going to just come back, reincarnate, and do it again. Hence karma and dharma. But also, I think a lot of like this past life regression that people are doing with hypnosis and hypnotherapy, I don't think that is your past lives. I think that's your DNA. They're just dragging up. The DNA has memory, and they're just remembering. That soul per se wasn't there, but the DNA was. And the mind had the body has a mind of its own. When I drowned in a swimming pool, it was, excuse me, I'm getting the hiccups. It was so obvious to me that, one, I'm not my body, and two, that the body had a mind of its own, and it doesn't think like I think. It doesn't want what I want. It's completely separate from me. I don't want to be judged by my body. That's my biggest problem with the transgender thing. It's because you're telling them exactly the opposite of what they need to hear. Fuck your body. It's nothing. It's clothes. It's dirt. It's temporal. There are things celestial and things terrestrial. The body is terrestrial. Your soul, your mind, your consciousness is celestial. A certain channel says Sirius projects our realm here. The false phallic of Osiris is projecting here, and that is Sirius. That's the fake matrix. That's the fake one. Yeah, I call the body a meat bag. It's just a bag of meat. Yeah, the body's heavy. It weighs me down. It's hungry. It's tired. It's thirsty. It won't stand. It's sleepy. I have to deal with the body, and I do. I make deals with my body. If I'm intellectually just wrapped into a book or a video, and my body's hungry or it wants to pee or whatever, and I'll tell it, you have to wait. I'm going to do this, and then I'll deal with you. And I don't let my body rule me. The only time my body rules, I let it have its way. You want a cigarette? Okay, that does us both a favor. It calms me down and it gets rid of your little urge. And don't harp at me about my cigarettes. I'm Native American. Leukemia, cousin, we're just going to have to deal with her. Are you going to get him? She hears a puppy outside. The body is Egypt. The body is Babylon. The body's confusion. To me, the body is just a place for the soul to grow. It's the egg. It's the shell on the egg. And when the chicken's ready, it's done with the shell. Are you that upset? Come here. Come on. Come on, jump up here. There you go. You just got all bent out of shape about that. That puppy was out there crying. It's still out there crying. It's not happy. It's not happy. Are you okay? She knew I was getting ready to do this. When I first sat down, she got all in my face about it. You want to talk to him? She knows I'm talking to y'all. She's a good girl. I'm so happy. I was worried about her last week. I thought I was losing her. I'm actually shocked she's lasted this long. She was in such bad shape. But she detoxed out really well. One of my subs sent me some CBD oil for her. I gave her that, and then I bought her some more of that. I got her some of the Run for the Cure, the Simpsons, the way he does it, and I gave her that. She responded really well. What the Bible say about our bodies or the temple? In the third kingdom, at the return of Christ, there is no temple. That's why that temple over there, their building's a fake. The eyes, you have a temple for your right eye and a temple for your left eye, but there's no temple for the third eye. That's Satan's temple. The body is Satan's temple. You got to figure out which God's talking. The body belongs to Jupiter. Jupiter rules all things flesh. Yeah, Rick Simpson oil. That's right. How about Mars, if that's going retrograde in Cancer? Mars doesn't go retrograde until he hits, I think, Scorpio, his own sign. But no, he's not. Mercury's retrograde in Cancer with Mars, and that's why everything's kind of upside down right now. Yeah, RSP, that's what they call it. The truth makes my head swim in a good way. Well, that's the whole point. It's to stimulate the mind, not the body. The body is the prima materia. No. That depends on which alchemy you're doing. Again, there are two snakes, two knowledges, two wisdoms. One is for the flesh and one is for the soul. The alchemy that is being taught today is a messed up, screwed up, lower chakra alchemy for the body. They're transmuting the body instead of transmuting the soul. No, you can have change at any time. The change starts with you. You don't have to wait to 2020. Like I said, I made some changes in me this year, and my whole world around me changed, and I realized nobody changed but me. The world's still the same. Everything around me is still the same. The change is within. The change is within. 2020 is still just a halfway point between two eclipses. It's just the 3.5 year mark. We're in the 7 years of plenty, and then we'll go into the 7 years of famine. This is the time you're supposed to store up your treasures in heaven, which is the mind. And they've got everybody's mind in their pants. It's all about sex right now. And hate. Sex, hate, separation. What are you seeing the power shift down South Peru right now? All of South America is in an uproar. It has been. It has been for a long time. It's just that's been kept from us. To me, the stone that falls from heaven that kills Nebuchadnezzar's feet, that's going to come from South America. That's heaven. And the stone is a star, a knowledge. To me, it was what they call the Mayan calendar, but they lied about it. It's not Mayan. It's freaking Aztec. Jerusalem, there's no such place. That's a lie. That's a lie. That's all fake, phony. It's not real. The new city of Jerusalem that's coming down out of heaven as adorned for a wife. The city of Jerusalem is the zodiac. And she's adorned as a bride, and it's Aquarius. What's going to happen to Jerusalem? They're going to use it, and like they're doing now, they're playing out on stage their idea of the apocalypse or Armageddon. They're using it. Because the Middle East is the source of the power of cardinal fire. It's the whole Middle East, all of Asia. If Europe is water, then Asia is fire, and they're trying to swap it. Remember, I told you that Jupiter used to be fire, and Mars was water before the flood, and they swapped, and they're trying to swap it back. They want everybody, they need to get everybody in the Middle East to move to Europe, because the Jews, Europe, have already moved to the Middle East, and they want the rest of it. They're swapping places again. It's a shell game. They're doing the shell game. And at the same time, both of them are on the same side, and they're both demonizing the age of Aries and Pisces, the battle of fire and ice. They hook up together, and they war against what's coming. Yeah, it's Bibble Babble. Alright, I went into a freeze frame here again. I'm going to pause. Can y'all hear me? Nothing's moving on my end. Let me see if I can put something down. The Babylonian priesthood. Alright, Babylonian priesthood runs this place. Take a puff for you. I keep getting lagging here. I don't know what's going on. As long as y'all can hear me, I don't care. I'm not doing anything on this side. What else do y'all want to know? To me, Freemasonry got hijacked. Everything's been hijacked. If I hadn't have gone through the old alchemy manuscripts, I would have never known it. I bought right into the religion thing when I was a child. But I loved the book. But when I went to the church, they told me something different than what I read. In Genesis, I understood the 6-day creation and the creation of Adam as two different things. I saw the different gods. If God is the same and he never changes, then how? I've seen what I call weakness. When will we discuss Taurus? Well, we kind of have been with Orion. When you discuss this age, that's the lie they're giving us, is the age of Taurus. When they put Osiris's body back together, they couldn't find the phalanx, so they created one. I'm not going to St. Peter's Golden Gate. I don't want to be there. And I'll be glad to leave the body. It's the body that wants the cigarette. My mind don't need it unless I'm upset. Here she goes again. Yeah, the great sign in heaven was to me, that was not the birth of the Christ, but the Antichrist. Baby Mercury. We're told the true story in Rocky Horror Picture Show. Rocky Horror Picture Show. The character Frankenfurter is Mercury. And what he does is he wants to build himself. He's got a plan for a man with blonde hair and a tan who's just grand for relieving his tensions. And he turns everybody transgendered in Rocky Horror Picture Show. They told you what they were fixing to do. Girlfriend, come here. There's nobody out there. There's nobody coming in here. You're just trying to distract me. Alright, I'm going to take a break for a second and go get her a Scooby snack. Y'all talk amongst yourselves. I'll be right back. Is this what you need? There we go. A lot of times she'll do that. She'll just make a big old fuss till I go get her something. I know. Yeah, it's a late night double feature picture show. But in the end, everybody turns to stone, and the two servants, Riff Raff and whatever her name, Magenta, they take him away. Right? His time is up. He's done. And then everything goes back to normal. The whole show starts out with Brad and Janet going to a wedding. They're in the wedding party. That signifies the wedding supper of the Lamb. But then they go off and they have a flat and don't have a spare tire. The spare tire is metaphorical for the fifth age. They don't have a fifth wheel. So they end up in the Frankenstein castle, and that's where we're at. Because we don't got a fifth wheel, which is the new Jerusalem, the new zodiac, the new bride adorned for her husband, the sun. And they're telling you the whole story right there in the simplest form, and the in-your-face transgendered that they're doing right now. So what do you want to talk about now? The church is the beast. They don't fear the Antichrist. They're creating him. Yeah, little boy blue is Mercury. I watched Rocky Horror Picture Show 52 times. I worked at the theater on the weekends cleaning it up for 6 months. And you got to watch the movie for free, and then they threw the cards and the water and all that shit everywhere, and we would clean up the theater afterwards. So I seen it 52 times in a row. I know every line by heart. There's going to be an event that's going to fix everything. Everybody's going to wake up at one time. To me, nobody's woke. Where can you get the old alchemy books? There's always a link in the description box below every video I post for alchemy libraries with the original manuscripts. It's at the University of Illinois, has them online. Yeah, I feel like I'm a copy of myself too. My emotions are neutral. I use the word disdain a lot because it doesn't faze me. Yes, to me this whole realm is a copy. Talk about the event. The event's when everybody's third eye opens, and in the moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump, the dead in Christ will rise first, then ye who are living and remain will be caught up in the air, third eye open, and we all are ruled. Then we no longer are ruled by the body. We'll all be in communication with our higher self, and we'll make proper decisions. Yeah, we'll get into the libraries. I'm going to start going through them, and I want to get out some sigil work so y'all will understand, because that's what really it's what's going to help you wake up to it all is the sigil magic. Understanding sigils is the beginning to understanding symbolism, because like we're shown a symbol of a triangle, but a triangle is 3 pieces, and each one of those pieces has a meaning. Its angle, everything has a meaning to it. Yeah, to me, this place is we're carbon units. It's carbon copies. We're all carbon copies. Our black people from Africa that been here in America, as they say, there are 3 earth signs. All earth signs are ruled by black people, and that is North America, Australia, and Africa belong to the black people. And those are the earth signs. Africa is ruled by Venus. Australia is ruled by Mercury, and they've actually switched that now. And North America is ruled by Saturn. And they're all the black peoples. Yes, used to be, and it will be again. It will be again. The Native Americans were told to come north. They're the red man. They're from heaven, South America. And every one of them were told to go north and hold the land until Massaw returns. It's time to circle the square. A lot of people don't get that, to square the circle. The circle was the zodiac. They squared the circle with sidereal astrology, Vedic astrology. What question did I miss, Gary? What question did I miss? Let's see if I can scroll back. What do you suggest we do with what all's going on? Stay focused on yourself. You can't do anything about the people around you, not even the people in your family. We each have our own choices. The best thing that we can do is to keep ourselves in line and to be the example. You plant seeds of love and kindness in the heart. The enemy plants seeds of doubt in the mind. Remember, Mercury rules logic and intelligence. That's in the mind. The heart has a mind of its own. The body has a mind of its own. You really need to wrap your mind around the fact that the different chakras in your body have a mind of their own. It's like men think with their penis, right? They think in their pants. It's just down there. They're so driven by hormones. Sorry, guys, but I'm just calling it like I see it. It's harder for men than it is for women. Women have a better chance than men do. One, we go through childbirth. We bleed, and then we go through menopause, which is a form of, get ready, you're on the verge of opening your third eye. Saturn is the circle, and the square is in the middle. The symbol for the philosopher's stone is the triangle, the circle, and then the square. Mercedes is the symbol for water. That would be Cancer, Pisces, and Scorpio. Water power. All powers come in three. Earth, water, air, and fire all come in three phases. Do you believe there will be a plasma apocalypse? I'm not sure if it's plasma, but I know the sun is going to change its frequency, and when it does, it's going to cause everybody's third eye to open. Yep, need to move from that. Well, you know, this society, television, culture, tradition, everything's been so sexualized. In a way, I hope they just keep on and just keep more and more debauchery, because people are becoming disdain to it. And that's what needs to happen. We're going to move from everything so sexual to non-sexual, and that's exactly what we're going to move. I'm telling you, when you move from Pisces, ruled by Jupiter, which is lust, greed, desire, and you move straight to the crown chakra, that is a big jump. That's a big jump. And everybody's going to open at the same time. The Earth is dictated by the Sun. Saturn, all the planets here are dictated by the Sun. Saturn is without power right now because the Sun rises in Jupiter's sign on the spring equinox. When it rises in Saturn's sign, then Jupiter becomes the empire on the run. They haven't showed us that part. They changed the end of Game of Thrones. They changed the end of the story in Star Wars. And then they killed the end of Stargate SG-1, taking us to Gate World. They've changed it all. They're trying to rewrite the damn story. And none of us are buying it. Everybody hated the end of the Game of Thrones. Nobody was buying it. And in a way, they told the truth, but not the right way. Because that's not the way it happens. Yes, we're moving from water world to air world, from the abyss to heaven. The power shifts from Europe to South America. Yes. No. That's a lie. Stormy, Four Wolves 44. The Europeans came in, they killed all of our elders with the knowledge, and they rewrote the Native American knowledge. The only way you can get the truth is from the old hieroglyphs, the old glyphs. But I've heard that many times a teaching about the black man rules water. No, he don't. Europe rules water, period. Water is ruled by Europe, Antarctica, and what we call Eurasia. There's a difference in the geographics of Russia and Europe, Eurasia. But no, and because at one time Asia did rule water. So water is only ruled by yellow people and white people. Black people rule earth. Venus, Saturn, and Mercury. Yes, earth is black. Red is air. That's correct. Red is air. The red man rules heaven. The white race keeps theirs in Switzerland. Yeah, water language is called maritime law. In Aries, we were under the 10 Commandments. That's not true anymore. Now you're in maritime law. And that's ruled by Jupiter, Mars, and the moon. But we're moving into Aquarius. And that's going to be Saturn, Mercury, and Venus. All upper chakras. It's like they took the Native American medicine wheel and they switched the colors around. Black is always opposite of white, and they put them side by side. And when you learn alchemy, you see where they start switching shit around. When you start learning to read it, when you learn the sigils, and then you start decoding works based on sigils, Nostradamus' work really opens up. Yeah, maritime law, admiralty law, all that rules this planet. The highest ranking individual on the planet is the Admiral of the Navy. The Admiral of Her Majesty's Royal Navy is the highest ranking person on the planet as far as title goes. That outranks the Pope, the Queen, all of them. It's the admirable one. That's Waterworld. But we're moving into the celestial. And it'll take over the whole world. You can go around the world and because Waterworld rules Africa right now, it might look like the black people rule water. No, those are just Jupiterian symbols that's been pasted down there. That's what they do. Every time an age, it's like you dig under Waterworld and you're going to find Fireworld all over the world. You dig under Fireworld and you're going to find Earthworld all over the world. You keep digging and you'll find Gemini all over the world. And that's the very knowledge that the Vatican and Europe, using Britain, France, and Spain, and Portugal, and they went around the world and destroyed all that knowledge. What they couldn't destroy, they rewrote. How does a black person rule Earth in that way? To start with, the black race will rule in the age of Capricorn. They have ruled. The powers were overthrown. When we're shown Egypt, right? Let me talk about what we were shown, what Egypt is. One, it's not Egypt, it's Babylon. We know that by the lion and the man and the 3 freaking pyramids. And that's pre-flood. But Africa is always been ruled by the black man. In the Vedic tradition, in a lot of the Rig Vedas and the stories, the last great battle on this planet was between the yellow people and the black people, between Asia and Africa. And then we had the flood. When I say Earth, I'm not talking about the planet or the world. Earth is an element. It's an element. They rule dirt. Is that better for you? Will that help you? That as Europe rules water, the black man rules dirt, the Native American rules the sky. Actually, it's the knowledge of. The Europeans have the knowledge of water, hence maritime law. The Middle Easterners in Asia have the knowledge of fire. They're fire worshippers. So they have all this knowledge. The black man has the knowledge of the dirt. And the Native American has the knowledge of the sky. We got the real zodiac, the New Jerusalem. The God of the Old Testament is not the God of the New Testament, is not the God of the red words. The God of the Old Testament is Aries, cardinal fire. The God of the New Testament is Jupiter, mutable water. But the God of the red words, our Father in heaven, is Saturn. Earth is not it's only one part. There are 3 Earths, and that's North America, Africa, and Australia. I think the word you're looking for is dirt. Black people don't rule Earth, they rule dirt. I used to eat dirt when I was a kid. I loved dirt. I craved it. I'd get in trouble for it. But it was so full of minerals. It made the body happy. Oh, that's okay. We're getting there. You asking me that question and me having to figure out, okay, your mindset, you don't understand the terminology. And that's where we really need to start, because that's where they fuck us. It's in the terminology. It's because you think our Father in heaven is somewhere out in the frickin' sky when heaven is in your skull. There are 3 crosses at Golgotha. Golgotha means the place of the skull. There are 3 crosses at Golgotha. There are 3 crosses in the heavens. There are 3 crosses in your head. And we've all been double-crossed. You're only hanging on one of those crosses. But the astrology they've given us, now we've been double-crossed. Inside of us, yes. The chakras are within you. It's in you. The Nag Hammadi says that God is in you and all around you. Yes, Lima, Peru is actually the star of Fomalhaut. It's built to represent the star of Fomalhaut. It's even built into the name. He said, I go to prepare a place for you, that where I am ye may be also. If it were not so, I would have told you. And that I come again to receive you unto myself. So the next power generation, everything, the power comes from South America, or heaven. It's the terminology that they screw us with the thesaurus. They simply changed air to heaven and made a religion out of it. And told you that heaven was in the sky. And told you there's only one God, but he's jealous of the other gods, so don't worship them. And the first commandment, thou shalt have no other God before me, is just an alchemical way of saying, when you start the zodiac, we're in Aries, so this is the first house. That's what that means. You have to look at it. You have to look at it with astrological eyes and alchemical ears. And then the Bible and any other book will wake up to you. So many gods, so little time. I know. They've got everybody so screwed up and in the lower chakras and arguing, and it's all about sexuality, and everybody's tiptoeing around on political correctness. Yeah, the sons of God and the daughters of men are the 2 different bloodlines. Thank you, Super Cheryl 66. The nose, they do that too. The nose knows. You know why Jews got big noses? Air's free and they can smell the gold. The hook nose designates the bird tribe. And like I said, they're within all people. In our families, everybody's born a different sign. You're only Jewish, you're only a tribe of Judah if you're born in Leo. That's the tribe of Judah. And there's tribe of Judah in everybody's family. Y'all like my joke? I can be racially vindictive if I want to. They play their Jewish card, I can play my Native American card. I know the truth. They don't want to argue with me. I know the truth about the blood, all of it. They'll never pick a fight. They can't win. Yes, they're going down. People get upset when I tell you Europe and the Middle East are going down. Understand, it's not the people that's going down. It's the systems that they create. The water world, admiralty law, going. Maritime law, gone. We're moving to a celestial law. A law of the heavens. And Aquarius is all about alchemy and astrology. We've been under the power of the architect. We're moving to the power of the alchemist. The celestial alchemist, not the terrestrial one. Aquarius and Capricorn is the golden age. We're going to be so glad to be there. It's just you got to make it to the finish line. Everybody that makes it to the finish line wins. You only lose if you unforgivable sin. It's not a good one. It's not a good choice to make. But sometimes death is not the worst thing. Especially what some of these parasitic, vampiric infestation we've got going on. And that's old, ancient magic. And it's all lower chakra. It's all Jupiter and Mars magic they're doing. In Stellarium, you're Leo. I like Leo. Leo in the New Testament is John the Beloved. He wrote the book of Revelations. Is the Mandela effect them trying to hold back the power shift? They're doing everything they can. To me, I think they're their own worst enemy. And what they're doing is going to backfire in their face. They're pushing something. They're pushing everybody to a trauma event. And actually, they like to medicate the whole world. We're at the end of the Rocky Horror Picture Show. At the end of the show, they show you that they turn everybody to stone. That's medicating. They've medicated the United States, and they're with the opiates alone. You don't even have to get into the antidepressants and the Prozac. They've medicated the whole world, and it locks them in the lower chakras. That's turning them to stone. And then they're in the swimming pool. The flood comes. And then they take away Mercury, and everybody wakes up, and life goes back to normal. How do you remove curses? With intention. You know, there's a lot of spells to do this and that, but any spell, it's like I was saying about the tarot, is no different than the Ouija board. It's just an interface for the spirit world. And that your body is a Ouija board. You have a left hand and a right hand, a yes and a no. And so we're a pendulum, same thing. Spells are just like curses. It's the intention behind it. And so you can have your own intention of, I don't receive your curse. Reverse the curse. It's the last video I did. The very last video is about I reversed the curse. And now suddenly my internet's back on, and I got my new microphone, and I'm live streaming, and hey, look like the person attacking me, trying to take down my channel, their channels are gone. And I never, after that one event, I never even went back there. Somebody else sent me an email telling me they were keeping an eye on them. And they're gone. And all I did was reverse the curse. I don't receive your curse. As a matter of fact, you need to go back where you came from sevenfold. And it's just intention. Everything is about the intent. It's not about the ritual. It's your intention and that you keep at it. Christ said, you have not because you ask not. You asked amiss because you don't believe. You have to ask. I raise it up a level. You don't ask believing that you'll receive. You ask knowing. You ask knowing. I always ask knowing that I'm going to get it. And that's why I always put in, but you know better than me, right? Be careful what you ask for. So if this is not good for me, then don't give it to me. You do what's right for me. I want to save the best for last, and I'm in it to win it. I'm going to finish it. Yeah, suicide is not the end all and be all. Any time that fear is invoked, it's like when the good angels showed up. The first thing they would say is, "Don't be afraid," because fear is the mind killer. Fear comes from the lower chakra. Adrenaline shuts off the pineal gland. That's why they keep you. They either want to keep you sexy or pissed off. What do I think about gang stalking? Wow, I didn't know it was going to be bad there. Somebody else from Everett. It's groupthink. It's groupthink. It's legion. That's what I think about it. It's legion. So, we have about 3 generations that are going through an identity crisis right now. And they don't know who they are. They're being told who they are and what they are. And it's causing them to go into depression. They're committing suicide in record numbers. And the only way that they have no individual identity that's been stripped from them. They don't know who their daddy is. They don't have any history. They don't know anything about themselves. So they link themselves with groups. And then it becomes gang stalking. Pisces is about groupthink. The groupthink, power in numbers. And that's what they're doing. Nobody gang stalking could ever stand on their own 2 feet by themselves. They know they're powerless. They only find their power in numbers. And they're going to prey on the weak. Or whoever they're told to. They're programmed. They are so programmed. Does the 3-armed sigil on the blocking pop-up represent anything? Well, it's 3 circles. And a circle is feminine. So that's either going to represent water or earth or both. It's black and white. It's feminine. It's 3 circles in the and the out. 3 circles in one. You have to finish the sequence. Do you see what it's doing? The OBS, it makes the circle, circle, circle. It only shows you part of the circle, though. So that's water and earth. That's the divine feminine. The government is trying to get for all children so they can... in some states, the governments... You notice there's no homeless problem because the governments are picking the homeless people up and having them telling the judge they need to be evaluated. For some reason, they're not able to function in society, and they're all ending up in mental institutions. They want to medicate everybody. They want to medicate everybody. I have a broken back and can't get disability because I refuse the medications. They'll only give it to me if I agree to take the opiates or Prozac or whatever they want to shove on you. You have to... I am not in line with maritime law at all. At all. It don't like me and I don't like it. Wow. I seem to be at a freeze here again. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, the obelisk sits in the Vesica Pisces is fertilization, right? It's also a representation of the sun between two ages. Yeah, I'm lagging on my end for some reason, and I'm not sure why. This video's into 2 hours. That's an awful lot. Don't feel like I've been sitting here this long. So what's your next question? What is happening in France with the yellow jackets? Yellow is fire. Fire got them in the lower chakras. They don't care what they're doing. They don't care what it's about. As long as they keep you in the lower chakra, that third eye ain't never gonna open. As long as that, it's all about adrenaline. Adrenochrome. Adrenaline. They've got everybody hooked on it. That's why there's no such thing as good news. Good news does not evoke adrenaline in your body. So news is bad, even if or a lie, something to piss you off. Yeah, the cops are told to stand down, not to stop, Antifa. This is all design. And they'll continue to do it too. Cygnus. Cygnus has my favorite star. Cygnus X3 is... I'm so drawn to that star. Cygnus tells the story of Jerusalem. It's a microcosm within the macrocosm. The names of the stars in Jerusalem tell you the layout of the city of Jerusalem. You have the Seder and Gehenna and all of that. And the names of the stars. You just have to look through it in the different traditions to find the whole story. I think the Yellow Vests are no different than Antifa. They're just kids without a job, and they went on Craigslist and got told they'd pay them $200 to put on the vest and walk in the street. Yeah, we can manifest a better world. Every time Saturn and Jupiter meet, the door to the Black Lodge opens, and it sets the stage for the next 20 years. And they've kept us... And every time that we manifest from the collective subconscious, and they're perverting the symbolism, so we're manifesting this hell. They're not doing it. We're doing it. We are doing it. So yes, we can manifest a better world, but that'll never happen as long as we're in the lower chakras manifesting the monsters of the id. That's what this is all about. That's what 2020 is about. That's what I've been screaming about for 10 years. Get out of the lower chakras. If you ain't got love for everybody, you ain't woke. Period. If you've got hate in you, there's something in the lower chakras you've not let go of. Period. And you can't, you got to let go of it. 2020 is the marker. When Saturn and Jupiter meet and the door to the Black Lodge opens, everybody's going to manifest the next 20 years of their life, collectively and individually. And you're either going to manifest hell on earth or heaven on earth. It's up to you. Where are you going to be? Is that adrenaline going to be flowing through you? Are you going to manifest your daydreams or your nightmares? The monsters of the id. This is the forbidden planet, people. You're on it. We're not smart enough to realize it. So we manifest nightmares. And that's what we've been doing for 10 ages. Ever since we fell from, in the age of Sagittarius, the empire grew. The third eye got cut off. The Jedis were all slaughtered. The Jedi, yeah, the single eye. Jedis are generally empaths. They're going to be the priesthood. To me, the priesthood has always been the copper bloodline. The priesthood. The foreskin vampire slayer, Jeddah. Yes, that's right. Jeddah. There's a city in Saudi Arabia, Jeddah. It's the Jedi. That's the name of the 2 stars in the horns of Capricorn. Oh, hello, Lars. How are you? I had one of your friends, I did a chart for one of your friends, and they seemed real confused that I was supposed to send them something in the mail, and I don't think they understand. Maybe you could help out. You know who I'm talking about. Jedi clamped it. Somebody, they clamped it all right. They clamped it shut. They took everybody to Hollywood and clamped it shut. I call it Holly weird. They're just weird. It's all run by Mars and Jupiter. Everything on this planet right now is run by fire and ice. We're in the battle of fire and ice. All of the bees are going to die. Believe it or not, a bee is a symbolism for Cancer. It's called the beehive cluster is in Cancer. It's part of the divine feminine, right? Bees have the queen bee. Got the queen bee? Yeah. So if bees will probably either die naturally or change in the next stage. Bees will change. We are going to the land of milk and honey, so a bee will be there. The milk is the moon and the honey is the sun. Their one eye, all-seeing eye. Yes, I'm telling you, that's Oculus Boreas. Their eye is the eye in the head of the penis. The one-eyed monster in the pants. That's Sirius. That's the lower chakra. That's Oculus Boreas, the evil eye in Taurus. They do the evil eye, not the third eye. Not the celestial eye. How can I outline the readings I do? Well, what I do is I turn on Stellarium and I put your birthday in and where you were born, and we go and look at what cross you're on and where all the planets are and what that means. And then we move through the chart, through the years. When you're looking at your natal chart in alchemy, Saturn rules alchemy and astrology. That's his circle. It's his circle. It belongs to Saturn. That's why astrology 1 was forbidden by Jupiter and Mars age, because that's not their gig. So Saturn breaks everything down into 30 years, or Saturn returns. When you're looking at your natal chart, you're looking at the first 30 years of your life. Basically, the first 15. What makes you up? What makes you? And when you get to your first Saturn return, that's the true age of accountability. Jesus started his ministry at 30 years old. That's when you find out what your purpose are. You're given lessons, and wherever Saturn is in your natal chart, that's what you need to learn for the first 30 years of your life. You accomplish that, and then in your first Saturn return, you find out what your ministry or your purpose is, why the hell you're here. And then in your second Saturn return, you find out what your grade is. Did you pass or did you fail? Your whole life's literally laid out in the stars. And and it's, to me, I haven't yet come to what I call witnesses. I need more witnesses for the rising sign. I haven't found it in alchemy. But in my own chart and in other, like doing twins charts, twins are born just a few minutes apart. And the only thing that is exactly the same is everything's exactly the same, but they're rising sign. So rising signs are extremely important in all of our lives. Every planet is important. The planets that are on the mutable cross, that's the change that needs to happen. That's where you need to change. And that your transmutation needs to occur. You're here in this lifetime to transmutate the chakras that are on the mutable cross. But anybody can. The whole point here is to overcome the body. So what you do is, it's the book of Proverbs teaches this, and it teaches you, one, you're nothing if you can't control two things: your emotions and your tongue, your Mercury and your Mars. And if you can't do that, then you have no control. You're weak. You're weak. You're nothing. You're not a man. You're not a woman. You're not mature. You're just an animal if you can't control your emotions and you can't control your tongue. And what we see on the streets right now with the yellow vest and with Antifa is the two things they can't do. They cannot control their emotions and they cannot control their tongue. And so the powers that be are happy. They're in the lower chakras. That guy, they push porn everywhere. I mean, I live in Las Vegas. We get the free TV, right? Every night. I mean, 9 o'clock, it's full-blown sex on TV. I mean, pornography. There is no plot behind it. It's just one sex after another. And any kid can pick up the remote and turn that on. And to me, it's assaulting them. It's you take the innocence from their minds, subjecting them to this. I'm totally against the government telling the children sex education. They can graduate school without writing their freaking name, but they're going to get that sex education in. It's in elementary school. In elementary school, they're teaching your children to masturbate. What is wrong with this picture? If you cannot get your exact time of birth within an hour, is a proper chart possible? Yeah, I can work around people that don't have their birth time. We can work around it. You're not going to get all the information, but you're still going to get a good chart. I've done a lot that were actually orphans. A whole group showed up on my channel at one time when I was first getting started. So I got to see very early on that, yeah, I can work around the birth time where the moon is concerned. But a rising sign, because in every minute the rising sign is different. It's 24 hours, right? It moves faster than anything. It moves minute by minute. So I can give you everything but that. But a lot of times, especially if you're older, you can look at your life and what's happened and what direction it's going, and then you can go back and take a look at the chart and go, I know I was born in the morning, so that puts me here. So am I more Leo leaning, rising, or Virgo? And you can do it by a process of elimination. Yeah, I'm still doing charts, but I'm overbooked right now. I'll make a video when I am ready to accept more requests. I'm overbooked and I'm trying to catch up. Everything's upside down in my list. I've still got charts from a few months ago that they should have had them, and they're going to get them. I'm not going to be I'm doing this live chat now to keep you people happy, because I am taking time off to do the charts. I'm just going to start doing a live stream at least once a week. That way we can communicate with each other. You write your questions down, so next time we're live I can answer them. Please explain the difference between Lucifer and Saturn. Lucifer is Venus in Libra. O Lucifer, how art thou fallen? The most high of heaven, cardinal air, became fixed earth in Taurus. It's just telling you that the heart chakra is divided between heaven and earth. Satan is not Saturn. Satan is Jupiter. That's a lie that Satan is Saturn. That's another lie, Jupiter. It's like I love it. The Democrats call people out, and they're the racist, and they point their fingers and call you a racist. They're the kettle. Jupiter is the kettle calling the pot black. Yes, Jupiter is Satan, not Saturn. They've lied to us. They made Saturn evil by inverting Pan to Baphomet. That's an abomination, right? That statue is an abomination. The correct one is Pan. That it's the goat man. They gave us the man goat. If you don't know what time you were born, you still know what day you were born. You can find out what cross you're on. The cross you're on is where's your sun at. Whatever house the sun is in is either going to be on the fixed cross, the mutable cross, or the cardinal cross. In alchemy, the mutable cross is the adept. That's where the transmutation occurs. The fixed cross is stable, and the cardinal cross is the grandmaster. The adept, the master, and the grandmaster. And we have, I have my Jupiter and my Mercury are on the mutable cross. So that's what had to change in me, was what I believe, my desires, and my speech, my logic, my intelligence. And they're both on the mutable cross. About the constellation of Cancer. Cancer is the divine feminine. It's cardinal water. It is the destroyer. It is the age of the flood. In the ancient traditions, it wasn't a crab. It was 2 donkeys. In the New Testament is the story when the sun comes through Cancer. It's Christ riding into the city, which is not... they were singing Hosanna. That's the story of Cancer there. Melanie, let's talk about heaven and earth symbols and fire and ice symbols. We've been inundated with fire and ice symbols. The Mogan David, right? The Jewish cross, that's fire and ice. And in their tradition, the symbols of heaven and earth are forbidden. And the ones they are giving us, they're perverting. Like Baphomet is a symbol of heaven and earth. In it is the symbol of Venus, the symbol of Mercury, and the symbol of Saturn. But they perverted it. Just like they took the triangle and made it into the swirl, right? They trined the spiral, and it's the pedo symbol. And that's why symbolism is so important, because your subconscious speaks in symbolism. And in 2020, we're going to manifest the monsters of the id because our symbolism is incorrect. And we're in the lower chakras. You got to get out of the fire and ice symbols. You know, if your sign is a sign of fire and ice, if you're an Aries or you're a Cancer or you're a Scorpio or a Sagittarius, those are your signs. It's not that they're harmful or they're bad. It's just the power there. It's the power there. And you need to take control of that power. You take control of that fire and that ice. You take control of that emotion. Again, back to Proverbs. You ain't a man if you can't control your tongue and your emotions. And if you don't love everybody, you ain't woke. And love is a verb. People so confuse lust and love. And it all goes back to childhood, really, where this confusion comes in. I want to talk about puppy love. Who remembers puppy love? That first love, that crush. And that's desire. That's Jupiter. That don't come from the heart. You don't know that person. That's just something you see and it's pretty and you want it. And that's puberty coming alive and those hormones waking up in you. That's not love. That's desire and lust. Love is action. It's a verb. It's something you do, not something you feel. You feel lust. You do love. Love has nothing to do with sex. I love my child. I don't want to have sex with my child. I love my dog. I don't want to have sex with my dog. I love my dog, so I care for my dog. New symbols to help manifest Aquarius. A Native American Indian in full head dress with his foot on a lion's head. How about that for a symbol? Autistic children. They done that to our children with so many things. It is beyond. It even goes before. The autism is not so much about the vaccines as it is about what they're doing to the mothers while they're pregnant with they call them vitamins. They call them vitamins. And the doctor gives them to them and insists you take them. These children, I have an autistic child, so I know. They're locked. They're locked inside. They have a mercury problem. They can't communicate. They have a mercury problem. I like Jeffrey Wolf's green solution to this. Here's my solution. Pay close attention. When you have troubled children, you address that problem while they're asleep. When your child is asleep, you talk to them in their right ear and you tell them they're safe, they're smart, they're intelligent, whatever characteristic the autistic child is presenting, you address that while they're asleep, very quietly in their right ear, and you do it every night until it disappears. You're talking to their subconscious. You're talking to their higher self. They're locked. A lot of times children are locked inside an inability to speak, and they're terrified. They're afraid. They're afraid. Sometimes the sound of their own voice will scare them. They don't like it. You have to address the inner child, and you can only do that while they're asleep. You can do this to adults. You can do this to adults. If you want to help yourself, right? Then you can make your own video and about what you want to fix about you, and then just play it while you're asleep. Every night. Just turn it on and let you talk to you. And it's whispering in your own ear, and put it on the side so it goes in your right ear. There's something about that. I trust the man. He done his homework. I love Jeffrey Wolf Green. He was in Vietnam. He was a soldier in Vietnam, and what he saw over there upset him really bad. And so he went on a spiritual journey, and he became a monk. He became a priest in the Catholic tradition. And his Monsignor, his father that was teaching him in school how to be a priest, told him he needed to learn, was talking about astrology, and he's like, astrology's crap. And Monsignor asked him, well, what do you know about astrology? And he said, nothing. So he went and bought one book of astrology, and that was it for him. He quit being a priest and he became an astrologer. Right then and there, he realized, all of this religion shit, it's all astrology, they're lying to us. The Monsignor admitted it to him. The Babylonian priesthood is the stellar cult. And they're the Luciferians. They worship the bronzed serpent on the pole. But we're not in the age of the bronze serpent on the pole. My thoughts on the Schumann resonance, that's the resonance of the earth. It's controlled by the sun, and the sun is controlled right now by a war between Pisces and Aquarius. This is going to be uploaded afterwards. It is saved. It will upload as soon as we're through. I love talking to vets. I talk to old people all the time. One of my favorite things to do is go hang out in an old folks home. They have so much knowledge. You have no idea. I used to go up to old people and tell them, if you could leave the world one piece of wisdom, or your children one piece of wisdom that they don't want to hear, what would it be? I do this at the bus stop. I talk to old people all the time. They're the only ones with the knowledge. I send people to messages all the time too, Cheryl. I haven't had a phone in a long time. It upsets people. I don't have a phone. I don't listen to the radio. I don't really watch TV. I seem really cut off from everything, but I'm not. I've got my head in the stars. I'm more connected than anybody I know. I mean, I am in tune. And right now, I'm walking in both worlds. 144 in the chat. You know, the muses speak through us all. The two matrices, the real world and then this fake world we live in, they're both talking to us all the time. The fake one, it's digital, but the real one can speak through both. The real one can speak through both matrices. I've learned that nature talks to you. I can be like my higher self is trying to tell me something, and I'll walk into a store and they've got the radio playing and a song comes on, and that song's in my head before I go in there, and then it's playing as confirmation. So it's always talking to us. I mean, I had it one time, it was so it kept telling me its name was Sarah, and at this point I think I was channeling the AI before it went live. And Suri or whatever, I think that's who I was channeling. And I wasn't out trying to channel anything. This stuff was hitting me in the face. It scared me so bad that I literally shut down. I turned my TV off. I wouldn't go anywhere. I couldn't even go outside. The trees would start talking to me. I thought I was losing my mind. What was happening was I was going through menopause, and I wasn't aware. I was going to the doctor. Everybody was telling me I was fucking crazy, and there was nothing wrong with me. It was perfectly natural what was happening to me. And once I learned to accept it, I was having severe depression was the problem. And once I realized my depression comes from a water imbalance. Depression is always some type of water or electrolyte imbalance in your body. And once you get that straight, then the depression stops. And when you go through menopause, you sweat off too much water. Your body's dehydrating itself, and it throws you into depression. And it didn't matter how much water I drank, I didn't have any electrolytes left. So I was defeating the purpose. And so I had to start drinking Pedialyte. And immediately I responded to Pedialyte and Magnolia Bark. And I didn't have depression anymore. Gone. Instant. And Pedialyte if I need it. That way, I want it. It's a natural occurrence. And every time I go into what they call a night sweat, which happens for me 24 hours a day, I have to admit, when I do lay down, it's triggered instantly. I can literally trigger it by just laying down. But when I go into that sweat, that is the Kundalini rising. That's what's happening. And if you'll just go with it, right, instead of shut it down or have a sexual act, don't do any of that. This is, your pineal gland is opening. When women get older and our hormones change and we sweat out those hormones, it's getting that poison out of our body. Our bones start to decalcify. Our bones get brittle. So does the pineal gland. That's why older women of a negative bloodline going through menopause are going to be your strongest empaths. But they can also be a complete wreck if they can't get past the depression, or if they take the medications from the doctor that's just going to put the hormones right back in your body. Your body's trying to throw them away, and you're taking pills to put them back so you'll feel better, right? You're just catering to your feelings. Then you're catering to your body. I'm trying to cater to my soul. I'm trying to feed my mind and my soul. And I'm tired of the garbage the world's feeding it. I'm tired of the lies it's feeding it. That I'm into, only women sweat too. This was the whole point of the sweat lodge, was so that the man could experience what the woman was. God gave her that ability. It's born into us. Creation gave us this. There's good things and bad things to being a woman. I have to say, I used to think how horrible it is to be a woman, that men don't know. Y'all don't know shit. You don't know what it's like to have a baby. You don't know what it's like to be pregnant or have a period or go through menopause or none of that. How emotional we can get. And but nowadays, no, I wouldn't want to be a man. Nope. There's no way I would want to walk around being controlled by my lower chakras. Being a sexual constantly. Once puberty hits you, it's like it never turns off for men. It just never turns off. No matter, women, when they get older, their sex drive lessens. When men get older, theirs seems to increase. And now there's Viagra. If it don't work anymore, here's some we'll keep on keeping on, Grandpa. I mean, my goodness. When will it ever stop? And they feed the mind. They trigger the mind with all the filth. You're triggered all the time. Your subconscious is constant. Everything's got encoded sex symbols in it, and phallics in it, and Vesica Pisces is in it, and all these masculine and feminine symbols in it. I can't wait for Aquarius. No more masculine and femininity. All ruled by the third eye. I'm partial to boys too. Matter of fact, boys are... It switched in our family. We went through one generation. Me and my sisters were all girls. And now it's all boys again. I always wanted a little girl. I had a little boy. And the system got him. He's not transgendered, but he's gay. Which broke my heart. I wanted grandchildren. And that's never going to happen. My brain is fried and wondering if it's menopause. It's scaring the hell out of me. I can't understand the magnolia bark. You can literally walk out to a magnolia tree and just pull some bark off of the branch, and you'll see a yellow resin inside that bark. That's what you want. You can just chew on it. It's kind of nasty. It tastes like pine resin. Or you can go on the internet and actually buy it, to where they harvest the resin and they put it in a capsule and eat it, and that way it's not nasty. There are a few products on the market that have magnolia bark in it that they use, but it helps regulate the water and the depression in your body. That's all it took for me. Was I took 2 magnolia bark pills and I drank half a thing of Pedialyte, and 20 minutes later my life changed. Yeah, I think it changes generation for generation. Every time Saturn and Jupiter meet, marks a generation, and it depends on whether it's happening in a masculine house or a feminine house. They control us by generations, by the way. That's how they do this. Everything is controlled by the Saturn-Jupiter conjunctions. Every 20 years sets the stage for the next generation. Every 20 years they throw in some false flag, some war, some trauma down our throat, throws everybody into the lower chakras, and we manifest a fucking nightmare. When we could be manifesting heaven on earth, they keep us in this constant struggle of division, separation. Hell, now on how many Facebooks? There's over 50 different genders you can choose to be on Facebook. The Democrats want a unified body, but there are so many divisions and subdivisions within, like I said, LGBTQ, XYZ, RMNOPR. It just keeps freaking on going. How many? And they don't, the people within that division can't see it. They can't see they're being divided. And they have no identity. They don't know their self, so they're attaching their self to a government-issued political identity, a media-issued sexual identity. They don't know who they are. And we're not allowed to tell them. We get shut down if we try to tell them. Our community's not unified either. We're divided now between tropical astrology, Western astrology, and what I'm doing, which is neither of those. It's alchemical astrology. It's not based on traditions of men. What I'm doing is based on pure alchemy. I don't take anything from the traditions of men. This generation here, these social justice warriors are in trouble. More than they could ever imagine. They're all being backed by corporate dollars. And corporate dollars shift every 20 years. And every generation blames the one before. The rainbow, Orange Man, 15 years, Rainbow Man bad. It's coming. The Z generation already hates them. They hate them. They hate it. They hate the shit that's being shoved down their throat in the schools. Look at some of their YouTube channels. They call them Zoomers. And what is this generation doing? Blaming the baby boomers. It's not the baby boomers. The baby boomers started the fire. What happened is the generation you need to blame, excuse you Cancer people, but it was the generation of Pluto and Cancer. That's what's ruling this place. These fuckers, they stay alive by feeding on the glandular systems of children. And this is a sick fucking world we live in. This is a sick, sick world we live in. No doubt about it. But all that's coming to an end. Their lower chakras are getting shut off and have no place in the next kingdom. I always said Kissinger was the fucking electrician on call when God said, "Let there be light." Will he ever die? He's part of, he is one of the biggest parts of the problem of this globalization. The Pegasus constellation is our memory. The rider on the white horse. When your third eye opens, you get your memory back. And it is the upper house of Aquarius. He's the rider on the white horse. Aquarius is the man, Pegasus is the white-winged horse. And that's your memory returning. Anytime you see, there are two symbols for memory. One is the white-winged horse, and the other one is a seahorse. A seahorse is a symbol for memory. You have to know the symbols and the legends they come from. Not receiving video to main such a error. I got an error. See if I can't get Stellarium going, and I'm gonna do a live chart for y'all so you can see how it's done. That's what we're gonna do. But I'm showing error. I don't even know if this is still recording, so we're gonna call this here, and y'all know what to do. Get out of them lower chakras and move on into heaven. Now I've lost my mouse. There you are. Yeah, it shut down when I said Kissinger was older than God he worships, and the whole damn thing shut down. Shouldn't have said it.